The NASDAQ. So this was the last idea I sent you guys in a video. What we're going to do is we're going to have a look at another trade plan for today. But these I sent this in and they played out beautifully. We were looking for, it was sell on this break here and then on that pullback sell again on that retest. Now the volume profile has shifted since then, but we were looking at just selling on the volume profile at the time was giving us this high, and I think it was giving us this something like that. That was the high and the low of the volume profile value range. In fact, let's just do that. I want to show you how you do this because, I mean, these trades worked out perfectly. We're going to go for anchored volume profile. And back then we were looking at, wrong one, hang on. Grab the fixed range. Yeah, we were looking for that. And then what we do now is we take out the extended. So back then, yeah, I thought it was a little bit lower than that, but we were looking for this to fail at the high here. Just pull it back a little further. So we were looking for this to fail at the high, which it did. So then we take that trade, and we talked about that. And then the next one was I was looking for this to break the low of the volume profile value range, come back and retest it, and then we'd continue down. Oh, okay, so it's done that. It actually worked off this level here. Okay, cool. All right, so that's what we're looking for. Now I want to show you quickly, before we get into today's trade plan, I just want to show you this. Whenever I upload a video or whatever, and I'm saying, look for this to fail at the high and take the next sell, or look for it to pull back and retest this low or whatever and take the next sell, all you've got to do is do this. And when you got a plan, so we're looking for sell bearish opportunities only because the trend is down. So you just use this VWAP indicator. And you're looking for the red signals when they fire on a 30-minute chart. The first red signal, when I talked about this pullback, fired here. These green signals are just telling you it's a bullish breakout of VWAPs. There's a bunch of VWAPs here, and it breaks out of it. You get this bullish signal. In the downtrend, we're only looking to sell. So you ignore the green signals. You take this one here, right? That's a trend shift, that red down thing, and the next signal is this one. So you can actually sell, and then, the pullback, retest. Well, that was it here, actually. Right on the signal, right? So, you can just follow that. There's your first entry short, all right? And now we'll look for another opportunity. So short there. And I mean, look at the outcome. Another one was just here, short there. Another opportunity was here to short on that signal. Just wait for the signals and take the trade, guys. That's all you got to do. So now I'm just waiting on another signal. So let's just close that, go out of here, and we'll go over to TradingView. And here's my take on a new idea where we're currently trading. Okay, publish. All right, record video, back to TradingView. And, grab the indicators, guys. The link's on the website, anthonyfx.com. Shout me lunch once a month and you've got really great value. So anyway, we're going to go here, share. All right. We talked about these two opportunities in the last video, and that was down here. There was a sell for this one and then a sell on the pullback retest of this value range at the time was giving us something like this. So this was the high of the value range, and the low of the value range was around here. All right, so we got two opportunities to get short, and I talked about using VWAP. Throw the VWAP in. All right, it breaks below VWAP, you short there. It's just as easy as that. Anyway, so we're looking for an opportunity for today. Let's just take these two out. This is now range bound, and always I'm looking at the volume profile to give me an indication of where the auction is at. And with the anchored volume profile, I'm looking for this high and this low. I'm going to map out this range. So this goes back to, well, this high as well. So I'm going to go back to this last green candle here, and I'm picking up this high through here and this low. So we're looking at this entire range. So this is currently the red line, right? Point of control. That's fair value. This is currently now range bound how do we get involved? Well, the last one was that. That was the idea. So what I'm looking at now, it's bearish. The only thing with this, it's a little bit dodgy because you've got now higher highs and higher lows. Yeah, it's very volatile, guys. Anyway, how do you get involved with this? It's got to work around the auction, right? And I mean, when you map these areas out, generally speaking, it's going to work its way from, okay, the high to the low of the range to the high of the range, to the low of the range, well, up to the point of control, back to the low of the range, back to the point of control, the low of the range, back past the point of control, right? So it'll work its way, and with a few diversions here and there, right? But once it breaks back within value, you look to target that for number one, and then target two is going to be that. And always look to take 50 or 60% off at the first target being this point of control, because it could turn around on you, right? So let's look at this and just plan the next trade. And it's really easy. It's going to be and I'm not going to be buying or selling within, especially around this fair value area. No way. But what you do is you look for, if it pulls back to retest this, there's a buy. Target 1, target 2. If it breaks through 1, 2, there's a sell. But be careful. That's why I don't always just look at that first pullback. I want to see two of them. Okay, I want to see lower low, lower high, and another lower low. And that's looking like going into price discovery. When you get one pullback, no. Okay, look for that. And then that's where you sell on that second. So it's a higher probability is to wait for not just one, but two. Then you're in, right? So here, look, it just came back. But I'm looking for another lower high pullback and then sell. Hope that makes sense. So that's how you get involved with this when it trades outside of a value area and potentially goes into price discovery. Right now, well, that was the high, that was the low here. Okay, it came back in, it did that, and then we had that. But like, you get involved as this is trending down. Anyway, I'll be looking to sell if we break below here. 1, 2. Okay, simple as that. Sell on that breakout. Note sell. I don't really want to trade against the trend, and for all I know, given that we've got this higher low, it could hold. It could travel back and run bullish for a while. It's just been a really, really dodgy week this week. The markets have been incredibly volatile, really aggressively, and nothing's really set up into a trend into the week. Maybe a couple of currency pairs here and there, but most of them have been really choppy and messy. We've had a little bit of movement today in the Asian session. Now, this is traveling against the trend now. Given that the higher time frame is bearish, I'm really preferring to stay with this and only look for shorts. And here's a reason why. Look, okay, the trend, right? I want this opportunity versus that opportunity. Much higher probability of a sustained outcome if it continues, right? Versus that's all you get on the pullback in a trend. So counter trend trading is not for the faint-hearted, but trend continuation, that's my thing. 30 minutes. Now, look, I will counter trend if I'm scalping, but I'm really looking for a day trade, possibly intraday. And yeah, I mean, the other thing, if it breaks above, who knows? I mean, it just depends on, we've got FOMC later tonight. For me to get long, this has to break out 1, pull back, 2, and then I'm in. Right? Higher high, higher low, and a second one. Not just one and it comes back, right? Like this one here. And then there was a lower high here. See that? I need to see a higher high pullback, and then that's where I'm going to go. So, I mean, keep that as a golden rule when you're trading value area range like this. And, it'll generally keep you out of trouble if you can stick around and manage your trade. So, I guess sell on the bullish breakout. If it trades above here, no trade. I'll just let it go. And for all I know, that could work its way up, and it could do that, right? But at this point, I'm not interested. I mean, look, eventually, if it does, and this actually turns around, and then we start seeing it trending up, then I'll be looking for buy opportunities. But while this is bearish, I'll stick with this until it starts to establish itself in the opposite direction. So the other thing to look for with this is use the VWAP, anchored VWAP. That's over here, anchored VWAP. I've got it starred, and just throw it on that high there, and that'll start to develop. But if I'm bearish, I'm going to throw it on the previous high. And the anchored VWAP, see how it's running down into the lower the volume profile. So volume is traded volume. VWAP, volume weighted average price. So it's all to do with, I mean, this is the Vance pants in my opinion. And big time traders use these tools, guys. So it's all about where the auction is occurring, what's happening, buying and selling, and just price gets impacted by that, right? So, and price action, market structure, it's all part of this thing, right? So we've got this VWAP here. So I want to see it pull under here, and then that VWAP would follow. And then, you throw another VWAP on this high here, and then that starts to develop. All right. So you want to get under this level and under your VWAP. So I talked about that actually in the gold trade yesterday. Have a look at it here. Like if you're looking to short and you get this pullback, I want to get involved when it breaks back into value in here. So you grab a VWAP and you throw it on the high and you follow it. All right, it creates another high here. Grab VWAP, it creates another high here. See the cluster? See how it works with the high of the value area range on the volume profile. So when this breaks back into value, you sell under VWAP right there. On that candle, or this one here if you like, right? Stop, keep it tight, and first target is going to be the red line, which is a point of control. And I would like to take half of my position, even 60% off that, and then pull your stop loss down halfway through the stop loss range. And then that's a profitable trade if you take 60% off. And the second target is going to be the low end of the value area. That's it. That's all I'm looking for. So I want to see this break under here. Follow it with your VWAPs, and then that would be, and you can get caught. You can definitely get caught. See, but that's why I'm always looking for not just the first pullback, but that was pretty tricky. But see how this is just, it never really gave you that next leg. So you just got to watch for that as well. All right. This one, it just gave you one pullback, but it didn't really, there was no follow through, guys. And it's easy to get caught when that happens. You get gung-ho and you think, here we go, we're retesting the low here. And I mean, the VWAPs will give you that. So if you're looking at this pullback in here, you got a VWAP on there. You got to get under VWAP, guys. Look, okay, the pullback happens and it doesn't really, you don't get under VWAP. See how this thing can actually keep you out of trouble. Look, even if you it pulled back here, it's green and it's got a big, a big bullish bar. So you use common sense on that for sure, right? So it doesn't establish itself under. There's no close. There's no full candle under VWAP here, and that's off that previous low pullback. So you need that, at least a full candle under VWAP. Here, look, is there a full candle under VWAP? No, there's not, and there's a big pin bar. So don't touch it. The full candle under VWAP, that happened here. Pullback, sell. The full candle under VWAP, right? There it is within the volume profile value range there. Pulls back into here, that's where you get short, and you got pin bars above, So, that's how I use volume profile and VWAP. So sell on this. I should add a thing and retest the range. Must be and under VWAP. Okay, must stay under VWAP. Okay, right. I might just save that as a thing. If this doesn't play out, then there's no trade. Then let it go. Yep, I like that. I'm going to keep that. Sell on bearish break of structure and retest of the range. Okay, it must stay under VWAP. If this doesn't play out, let it go. All right, there you go. What happened to my VWAP? There it is. let me know what you think, guys. Are we on the same page? All right. With that, I hope you have a great day. Safe trading and see you in the next one.